Oh, right. Hello. How's it going? Um, I'm back with another amazing video. It's me, Billy. 4'3". I like stealing from charity stores in my spare time. My favorite color is Caucasian. My favorite food is black jelly beans. I'd say my least favorite is probably white jelly beans. I'm not sure if that exposes me. We'll have to see. I'd say my favorite children's book is probably like there was that one, wasn't it called Mommy, why is there staples in my tummy? Anyways, enough about me. Let's go through a little bit more in detail about the Enchantress sorceress, because I said I would. So let's click play. Cool. You'll be impressed. I wrote down some little notes on a notepad. Brilliant. It's the most work I've done in fucking months, to be honest. Yeah, so I said in my last shitty overview that I'd go through the Fire Enchantress Zeal in a bit more detail, because I think there is well, obviously it's a 20-year-old game, as I said, so everything has been covered. There's nothing new. But with the Fire Enchantress, because it's so shit, there's a lot of room to move around. So there's a lot of options for gear, which is really fun to try and figure out what works for you. And just there's a lot to mix and match, and mainly because it doesn't really work too well. It doesn't perform amazingly, so you can't really compare it with other high-end builds. But when you do invest a bit of time, and you do invest, a bit of profit, and you get some of this tasty gear, which I'll show you in a second, it can function reasonably well, because you can still teleport like every sorceress, so you can keep your speed up, but you are definitely limited in two ways significantly. First is it's a melee on a sorceress, which is the weakest, most fragile class in the game, so you can't take too much damage. Being melee does limit you to certain like smaller areas to farm, so you've got like some other bosses and stuff you can kill, like Mephisto, which we'll get into later near the end. And the other thing is, it's sadly fire damage is your primary. So as everyone knows, that fire element is it's the biggest frickin' immunity in the game by far. So places that you can farm are definitely reduced because of that. So I reckon we'll just recap the skills. I'll go through my stats, which I haven't reset. I'll kind of explain what you're looking at a bit. Then I'll go through... I can't turn this damn chat off. I'll go through my current gear. So I've got my pre-buff gear on. So we'll go through that, show you what stats you're looking for. Then once we've buffed up, I'll swap out. I'll show a bit of the energy shield pre-buffing set that I have. My build is not fully spec'd into energy shield. Some people do completely spec right into energy and max that shit out, so you got like fuck all vitality, but I can't be bothered doing that, so I'll show you that pre-buff gear as well. And then we'll chuck on the big boy pants, and then I'll show you how to slap some dudes and get away clean. So let's start with just the skills again. So we've got your staples. So you got the one in frozen armor, you've got the one in static field, not static charge, you've got one in telekinesis, and then one in teleport. Ignore these, we'll come back. Fire spells, so this is your main bread and butter. You got boom, you got one in firebolt, one in fireball, so those are going to be your prerequisites that are going to get you to enchant. So maxing out warmth, which is fucking sick. It's pretty weak on the lower levels, but it does get a lot better once you max it out. And with your plus skills at 41, mana recovery rate plus 510%, and you got bloody Hazadi over here with his insight. You're going to be teleporting around, and you're not even going to see your mana dropping, which is bloody brilliant. Maxing out enchant with that is obviously going to give you a nice synergy bonus there, so 9% per level. Hell yeah, boy. As you can see, fire damage is 3300 to 3900. that is not yet amplified by this sucker down here, which is your Fire Mastery. Hell yeah, my boy. Plus 310%. Nice. Back to these skills. These are extras. So as you can see, we've got 1 spent in there, 2, 3, 4 just on your staples. And then here, you've just got 62. So about 65, 66 skills, and then you're kind of done. All the rest is spare, so you can choose what you want to do with it. So not only have I said before that you've got a lot of room for gear, you've got a lot of room for skills as well. So just for the sake of my build, as I said, I don't really want to fully spec into Energy Shield, so I kind of did a kind of spec into Energy Shield. So I put 3 here, just for prereqs to get down to Energy Shield, max that sucker out, and then I put the rest in Telekinesis. So it doesn't really explain the synergy, which is a bit gay. Hopefully they'll update that, but I believe Telekinesis reduces the... I think it reduces the amount of mana that you take, and then Energy Shield increases the amount of like the percent of mana you take and set it down. I don't care, honestly. Another time. But that's what I have been kind of messing with for skills. But that's your main shit. Your enchant and your whatever. Makes sense. I covered it before. So stats. It's going to be not much different from every single other build that you ever going to see in Diablo 2. Enough strength to wear the gear that you need. So you've got your Monarchs and shit, which is probably your main sucker that everyone kind of aims for on every build, because it's such a staple. So usually there's going to be around 156 strength unless you're wearing alternate gear. So that should definitely be enough to wear everything that you need. Dexterity is going to need to be a bit higher on this build, so I'll get to that a little bit later actually, and then all the rest is going into Vitality. If you are doing like an Energy Shield spec, some people put literally nothing in Vitality and go straight in Energy, but that is for another time. So let's buff this shit up and then swap some gear out and go from there. So with my pre-buff gear, this is what I have. It's not the best, but it does the job, I guess. So this gives me 44 enchant, which is not bad. So what I've got is, I do have the kind of best in slot item that you want for your helmet. So we're only aiming for plus skills and plus fire damage. I do have I socketed this fire facet in just before. As you can see, it gives minus 5% to enemy fire resistance. That is fucking negligible. Who cares? So I mean, if you can find if you can pick up cheaper fire facets for this pre-buff set with like plus 5 fire skill damage and 3% enemy fire resistance, get that shit for cheap. Give them a fucking couple of Ral runes or something and you'll be fine, because the minus fire resistance does not matter at all. It minuses the fire resistance of skills that you're using at the time. Like if I'm, casting fireballs on some boys, it's going to be reducing their fire resistance, right? But this is just for a pre-buff cast. So you just, you enchant you and your kitties, and then you take it off. So you're not actually minusing anybody's fire resistance. You're only buffing your fire damage. Makes sense. Easy peasy. So the best you can get here is you could get 2 sockets. Sadly, Larzik just, he just gave me the one, sad boy. So you got plus 3 there for fire skills. Easy peasy. You've got Amulet for a plus 3. This is a really cheap one, and again, it's the best in slots, the most skills you can get for there. Spirit, it's pretty obvious, plus 2 skills. If you really want to go big boy, you can get 4 facets in there, so you can get 20% fire damage in a shield. That'll definitely be an upgrade. For your main hand, the best here would probably be a blue rare orb, so that'll want to roll with exactly the best in hand would be plus 3 fire skills. You'd have plus 3 enchant, and you'd also have plus 3 to fire mastery, because that would act as a buff in itself. So it'd be like 6 fire mastery, and then it'll add on to the 6 enchant, and then fucking rah, and then socket that shit with another facet, boom, and then you're bloody knocking down towers like 9/11. So over to the almost robes. Again, just stacking more fire skill damage. This is ideally what you want for your main chest. It's your best. So you want to have 3 to enchant is really important on here. If you can't get it, if you can just get like just any cheap almost robe with some shitty skill roll, and you've got, as long as it's got like a high fire skill % damage, just take that shit. If you think about it, like if you just isolate the fire skill damage itself, boy, that's equivalent of 3 fire facets, mate. Like, even though it looks like a piece of shit and it's got like +3 to telekinesis, just grab it. Just think of it as 3 fire facets that you've got in a chest. I don't know, it helps my little baby brain, I guess. So for other gear, you'd want down here like an Iraq's belt for a +1. Just any plus skills. I couldn't be bothered swapping characters to get mine, so who cares? Stone of Jordan as well as a Bull Cathos would work here. Again, it's just pre-buff gear, so you could steal it off your other characters and swap it back out. Mage Fist is ideal, +1 to fire skills. What can I say? Boots, there's nothing you can really get there. So this is your pre-buff set, and of course paired with my non-existent Annihilus Charm and my Hellfire Torch, and just a bunch of skillers that you can get. So, what have we got? 44. Buff that up. His 80, let's buff that up. Since we buffed him up, might as well show his kit. Show what he's rocking. For the sake of it, I put an insight on him. We don't actually really need the meditation aura. With enough plus skills and like freaking 40 into warmth, you don't really need it. And when you're slapping dudes with your zeal, you're not really spending anything. So you can swap it out if you want. I find it's handy when I am zipping around and teleporting. But again, just a big old meat stick to hit cunts. It doesn't really matter too much. I find I threw on an Andes. Anything with, if you can get a bit more attack speed on him, would be great. But I mainly use this for the big strength bonus, some resistances, as well as the lifestyle per hit. So there's alternates you can chuck in there as well. For a chest, a good option here would be Treachery, just for the attack speed, as well as the other buffs that are on there. But I use this for the Cannot Be Frozen and the resistances again because it's so cheap. Duracell is so cheap, and it's so underrated, man. It really is. Just chuck that shit on there, and you don't need to worry about it. You can telestomp if you want. Little baby telestomp with your own Zealer. But so we've buffed up. Buff has 80. Now we've got 15 and 18k gear. So let's swap this shit out. First off, I'll swap out to my energy shield set, just so I can show you what I'm kinda rocking. Bear with me. I have not sorted my stash at all because I've been mixing and matching so many different bits of gear to see what works, and I'm still doing it. I'm still getting there. Whew. Okay, so with Energy Shield, you don't need to go too nutty on the plus skills. So as long as you can get 40, aim for 40, because everything above that is irrelevant, because it caps at 95%, as you can see there, absorbs 95%. I'm not sure about the capping for telekinesis. I don't know. I haven't looked into the actual bonuses, but I do know that every point after 40% is irrelevant. So if you can aim for that 40 or as high as you can to that 40, that's going to get you to that 95%. So if I take off my +3 from my Ormus, 38, see, absorbs 93%. So 2 more get me that extra 2%. Click that up, we're good to go. So, is it F? Is my energy shield? Too bad his 80, can't give that to you, so that's mine. So for the pre-buff gear, what have we got? Just a blue amulet again, just like the mimicking the fire one. I got 3 lightning skills. Any helm with plus skills, obviously you can get 3 and just a lightning equivalent of all the cheaper gear that I showed. Almost energy shield. You've got your +1 on shit you can grab on your rings and your belt. This is the big sucker though, the 4-socketed staff. Kind of tricky to find. It's a rune word that not many people use, I don't think. It's a pretty niche case one. Lum IO Soul Eth is pretty, it's pretty cheap, pretty dog shit. But mainly the base roll for it gives +3 to soak skills, and then +3 to energy shield. So if you can find a base that has 3 energy shield on it, you've got a staff that has +9 to energy shield. So even if you don't have any of this other plus skill gear, if you just have the battle staff, or not specifically a battle staff, but if you have this rune word, you got +6, and if you find one with +3, then you got 9. So you can get 9 skills just with that. It's quite significant. So now that we got the buffs up, I better hurry up so this doesn't actually run out. My enchant. Oh, I don't think it runs out. I think I got like 20 minutes on the bloody thing, so there's your cap for the video, I suppose. So let's chuck on my melee gear now, and then I'll talk through a bit of that and my decision behind it. Swap that shit out. Where is my... Oh, that's right. Over here. Over there. That is everything. Okay. Here we are. This is my main kit. I just realized I can zoom in. That's a better picture, isn't it? So, here's what I use for my... This is like my best, strongest setup that I've found so far. My main flaw that I need to kind of work on is faster hit recovery. So I have prioritized meeting other breakpoints over that, and I feel like I need to work on it. Maybe even get a bunch of fucking charms, fast hit recovery charms, which are pretty cheap, and just get rid of my fire skills, because as I mentioned before, you don't need these while you're actually hitting dudes. So that might be an idea. But I digress. The main big stick in this is going to be your 4-socketed Phase Blade Passion. So this is going to give you the Zeal. That is your big boy. With the roll on this, it doesn't actually matter too much about the enhanced damage. I mean, you are going to be doing some physical damage with it. So just anything is pretty good. Your bonus to attack rating would be nice as well. They're the 2 rolls to look out for. But other than that, it doesn't matter too much. There's no need to be too fussy. Once your enchant is high enough skill level, I'd say over like 35, I haven't found that I need to worry too much about attack rating on this character. So I think if we look over here, 6,958. Pretty decent. So if I drop that shit, it's still 95. So just chuck it in, take whatever roll you get, basically. I've got my Andariels on here, socketed with a roll, pretty easy. You've got some lifesteal, the plus skills, Poison Over looks cool. You're playing with your friends, you can brag about that. Poison Res, it covers that, so I don't need to worry about that shit. And some strength, which is pretty handy to equip some other stuff. High Lords, I'd say, is best in slot for this. You got your Deadly Strike, which does slap when you're slapping boys. 20 increased attack speed. There's nothing to really replace this. If you have a cat's eye and you can't get this shit, use that. It's got attack speed. It's the only other thing I know that has attack speed in the amulet slot. So it'll do. I'm using the Storm Shield. This is my baby on here. Mainly, we've got some resistances. They're not the best spread. 79 cold res is a bit weird on a shield, isn't it? But the rest are a bit low. Once you put like a P diamond or an unrune in there. But damage reduced by 35% is fucking sick, and it is very needed on a character like the Sorceress when you're running around with like 682 life, which is pretty low. I should kind of spec on that. But also on here, you've got the increased chance of blocking and faster block rate. Pairing this with this sucker, which I've found to be quite handy on this build. So I've got this Guardian Angel I socketed with an rolls up to 200% ED. I got 197. That's good enough for me. You can up it if you really want the defense, but I think it goes to about 180 strength or something. Not sure if I really want to do that, because I might use it on other characters as well. But basically, you've got your faster block rate on here, and increased chance of blocking, so that's all going to add up. You've got attack rating against demons, kind of negligible. Socketed with an unrune for more resistances, and the max resistances was really appealing on this build too. So I haven't quite maxed them out. I need to get some more charms to swap them around. But just the more hits you can take, the better. With my gloves, I have these Laying of Hands for an extra 20% increased attack speed. Damage to demons and the fire res of 50 is pretty damn good. For your boots, You've got Gore Riders in here, so that's going to give you Crushing Blow, Open Wounds, Deadly Strike. You do have options to switch this out with the gloves. I'll show you in a sec. But my belt here, I've got the Nosferatu's Coil, so attack speed and lifestyle on per hit is great. Strength is great. Slows target by 10. I don't even really notice it. Who cares? But let's go through some alternates that I have. So for chests, you've got other options for attack speed too. So you, again, just like the Mercenary, you've got Treachery. Twitch Throw is a good one to get some hit recovery and you know, increased chance of blocking there too. For gloves, I haven't quite tried it, but Drax might be decent. I find that I really need that IAS slot, that 20 increased attack speed in the gloves, so I found that that's handy. And also the 50 fire res, I really needed it once I used the Guardian Angel for that extra 15. So moving on to the belt, I do like the Nosferatu's, especially 15 strength and the 10 increased attack speed with the life is really nice, but it competes quite strongly with some other belts here. So you've got String of Airs is an awesome one. Life steal and damage reduced by 14 is sick. You've got your Verdungos, so you've got 10 fast hit recovery, 38 vitality, which is really great. Replenish life, as well as damage reduced by 12 on this one, but it actually goes up to 15, the same as String of Airs. We can throw a few other things on here too, if you want. We've got Gloom's Trap as an okay option. Another, you know, kind of niche belt. But you've got some mana steal on hit. You've got some vitality on there. Increased maximum mana as well. So if you did have a decent amount of levels and energy shield, then you could chuck this in just to boost that up a little bit more. Actually, increased mana as well. Another option you could do is Frostburn Gauntlets, and I paused there because I realized I don't have my Silkweave boots in here, but they also, you can swap those out for your boots if you don't need like the Crushing Blow. That'll give you an extra, I think, 10% on Silkweaves, and then your Frostburns are going to give you an extra 40, so it's a big chunk. So if you can find that increased attack speed somewhere else, or maybe you've socketed, I don't know, something else with a bloody jewel for 15 and that gets you there, then chuck that in for your gloves. That's going to boost your energy shield significantly. Alright, let's move over to some of the breakpoints. As you can see, my resistances here, they're not bad. If I chuck this little girl on, that'll show you they can reach up to 90, and because of Andy's, I can get to 95 on the poison res there. So, but for the sake of it, I'll just move that back over because I want to use that one. So, with the breakpoints, what have we got? So my attack speed is 95%. Now if I move over here, where's my frickin'... Here we are. We'll chuck that up there. So this here, I will post the link in the description of the website that I've used. But this has just helped to generate the increased attack speed breakpoints for the Sorceress, using specifically a Phase Blade and using specifically the skill Zeal. So, on my character here, you can see I've got 95%, so that's including the 25 from the weapon. It's just, when you go through the website, it asks you, oh, put in the number that's the increased attack speed from the weapon, and the rest from the gear in separate boxes. But in all honesty, it doesn't matter. It's all on your character. It's all going to add up, right? Easy peasy, bingo bongo, my brother. So, on the attack speed list here, these are the kind of frames that you're going to be looking at. So with mine, I'm rocking 95, so I've just hit that breakpoint here. 95 and 95. Boom. So that's going to get me down to the 6, 77710. It's bugger all above this one, 3.28 to 3.37. It's pretty... It doesn't matter too much. So if you can't reach like a 95, honestly, just take the 65. So, I mean, that would give me room to... probably switch out the gloves, but I really need the fire res for 50. So again, I guess this is like a clear example, like I said before, like there's a lot of stuff to switch around to find out what works for you. And if you don't have all the bits of gear that I do, if you don't have all the bits of gear to meet each of the breakpoints, there's definitely something you can throw in and make it work to some degree. The next breakpoint above that is 168. So if you did want to meet the 168 breakpoint, you'd be looking at getting attack speed in every single fucking slot that you can. Minus the shield, actually. I don't think you need it in the shield. So if you have something like this sweaty gear, for example, you've got 25 on there, 45 on that, 60 on the chest is the most you can get. Same with 20 on the amulet, 20 on there, and then 10 on the belt. I believe that'll give you 180? Yes, 180. So that max breakpoint you can reach there is 168. So that'll bump it up to 3.9. I find that it's not that much of a benefit in my experience. I've found that it's a lot more beneficial just to drop down, you know, a couple of frames and then just sit with this here. So hopefully I've got enough time left on my enchant, and then we can have a zip around and I'll show you how it kind of runs. So we'll chuck that on there, chuck that on here. So usually when I am zipping around, I'll have my switch key on for my shooters and my spirit, because that is going to allow me to teleport around a lot faster to places, meeting I've got 81 faster cast rate there, so that is going to help me meet the faster cast rate of 63, which is 9 frames. Speaking of breakpoints, I didn't cover the Storm Shield paired with the Guardian Angel as well. So the faster block rate 30 on here, plus the 35, that gives us 65, which is pretty decent for the max block. Max block, where am I? Max block rate. 5. I confused my notes don't even make sense anymore, my brother. Faster block rate. 35, 30. No, the faster block rate frame is only 48. Yeah, it's only 48. So you've got 30 on there, 35. So that's going to get you up to like the 5th frame, I believe. And then you've got the increased chance of blocking, which is going to get you, you know, up further frames as well. Not bad, not bad. But I said I'd get back to the decks as well. Jesus, I'm unorganized. I've got 176 here. And what we actually need is 171. With specifically the Guardian Angel and Storm Shield, we need 171 decks exactly to reach max block of 75. So, can't be bothered putting a screenshot of that in, but I will chuck the link down the bottom so you can actually do the calculator for yourself. It accounts for your character level too. So I think that is all the breakpoints covered. I can't be bothered doing the fast hit recovery because mine is shit and I feel bad. Mine's 5%, which I'm getting from a damn charm over here. But basically you got 20, 32, 52, and 86 to kind of go for. But I feel bad. I don't have any. But for a few places to farm, let's kind of go through, I reckon. It's not too bad, this build. You can teleport around with the sword on. It's a little bit slower, but it's not too bad. So here's an example of some fire immunes. You're still slapping them, you're doing your deadly strike as well as applying that crushing blow every now and again. Bing bong bing, not bad. Couple of greenies. One good area I like to show is it's not too bad of a Mephisto runner. I mean, it's not the fastest kill, alright? But you can still teleport there with a decent switch if you're meeting your faster cast rate breakpoint. So, switch to shooters, and then hopefully we can find Mephisto before my enchant runs out, because I have been talking for about 3 years, haven't I? Is it still on? It is still on. And that's level 1, sick. So sadly this build isn't strong enough to sit in the front and clear places like Chaos Sanctuary. When I do, maybe in the future, if I do end up, you know, finding a few jar runes, maybe I'll make some like Dual Dream, and that's an entirely different build and spec with a, you know, a lot of things change, more areas you can farm. But for this one, you are very isolated with just fire. God, speaking of isolated, this place is terrible. Oh, it was right next to the waypoint. Easy peasy. Okay. Alright, switch. And here we are, Zeal. It's kind of funny, the animation of Zeal. You kind of... That's why I say you're just slapping with your sword. You really are. It's not the fastest kill, but it's doable. You know, it's... If you want a different type of build, if you're getting sick of just throwing orbs and doing all that, the normie shit, you know? If you want to be a, you know, if you want to stand out amongst the casuals, then, you know, instead of, you know, keeping your limb room and upping, like, I don't know, some blood fists or some shit, just keep it, you know? Find a 4-socketed sword, chuck it in. Easy peasy. Another good place I find to farm is Andariel, so I'll see if we can, you know, slip that one in before my Zeal runs out. No, not my Zeal, my enchant. This is the speed with, like 0 faster cast rate. I do have 10% from my ring, but, you know, that's not really doing much, is it? So when we swap to a shooters, as long as you're meeting, like at least a 63 faster cast rate breakpoint, I found that that's plenty for me. So this is 63. If you can get higher than that, fucking good on you, mate. I'm proud of you. But honestly, that's enough. I mean, it does the job. You just switch to get to your destination, teleport to the yobbo, and then slap him with your sword once you're there. Easy peasy. Bingo bongo. Where's the bloody catacombs? Down here. Hang about. Come on. Jeez, I'm still getting used to the quick cast as well. Enchantress still up. We're good. Switch. And remember, this chick is weak as hell to fire. So, actually, this is probably the best place to test. Get it set up here. Teleport over. Slap her a couple of times. You know, build up your self-esteem. Convince yourself that this is a good build. That's what I had to do. Just kill Andariel for like a week straight. You know, build your confidence, and then carefully and gradually start to branch out and farm elsewhere, and try not to lose all your bloody cash as well. Keep it in your shared stash so you don't lose it. But yeah, that is about the gist of the build here. So again, this is the Enchantress Zeal, so mainly with the passion. This setup that I have is specifically spec to go towards max block. I do not have good faster hit recovery, so I might end up redoing this build in the future when I can figure out how to do that, as well as trying to max out my resistances. Maybe in the future I might chuck up another video showing more adventurous farming areas, just to kind of show a comparison of how well it performs, because some areas where there are multiple mobs, it's not really too great, but in smaller groups of mobs, it does shine. It does do a lot of freaking damage really fast. So yeah, I think last time I said I was going to go through some MF gear, but half of that is on my other setup, and I can't be fucked! Can't be fucked, my bro. But I think I'm going to finish off the video there. That's a long one. I reckon next one I look forward to making is going to be the range, so that's going to be with the demon machines. So this one I'm still trying to get some gear for, but that is definitely my favorite, and I feel like it's the better build if you're focusing on enchant. So cool, thanks for that. I am streaming occasionally on Twitch, so I mean you can check that out. It feels weird advertising myself, but I don't know. Yeah, fuck it. If you see me streaming, I'll put the link below. Just be like, hey, I don't know, fucking whatever. I'm gonna go. Right, see ya.